Hiya, I'm Tabby. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so glad that you're here today. I'm so glad that you're here for my first video. This is my first video. So new page, I'm super excited. It's been less than 2 weeks. We already have almost 200 followers and I just cannot even hardly believe that. I was nearly in tears the other day when we hit 100. So I'm super excited. I love to cook. And it's something that I think I probably get it from my mom and my dad. My dad was a cook in the Marines and he's Hungarian. And so I'm half Hungarian. And so, you know, Hungarians, ethnic food, we like to eat, we like to cook. So I've always loved to cook and I've always been encouraged to share, you know, just recipes and things that I know, tips and tricks. Not that I know everything, but I have fun in the kitchen. So anyway, I decided to start this page and I'm super excited about it. I'm excited that you guys are here with me and I'm excited to do something with you today that doesn't require a lot of thinking. I thought this would be a good thing to start with because that way I can kind of chat with you and you can get to know me a little bit. And it's not something that's going to require ingredients and things that I have to keep, you know, referring to. It's just something super simple, but is going to be really delicious and you're going to be able to use it in your kitchen a lot. So what we are doing today, I have a rotisserie chicken. You can see, move the bowl. I already took a little chunk out of it. You can see that little chunk. I bought it yesterday at Walmart. I used a little bit of that meat yesterday for our lunch. But today what I'm going to do is get the rest of the meat off and debone, get everything taken care of. And then all of the skin and the bones, I'm going to put in this pot right here. And we are going to make some chicken stock. I try to do this about once a week because I like to have a couple of quart jars of chicken stock in my refrigerator during the week, just in case I decide to make a soup, or I love to make my rice with chicken stock. And so yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. And so as I work on this, we will just do a little chatting and let you kind of get to know me a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands. You always want to make sure you've got clean hands when you're working in the kitchen. You want to make sure your hands are clean. So let's do that real quick. Hope you guys are having a great day. It is actually Sunday. I'm going to post this video probably tomorrow, but it is actually Sunday. We had a beautiful morning, went to church this morning, had a great service, and then went to lunch at First Watch, which is one of my very favorite places to eat, and had a delicious salad there. It was the avocado chop salad, and I think I might try to do a version of it here at home maybe soon. I'm not sure when, but I might try to do that soon. It was really a very good salad. It was the first time I had had it. So, okay, so here we go. I'm going to turn my camera down just a little bit so you can kind of see a little bit better what I'm doing. Let's see if I can get my, there we go. That's better. So I think you can see. So I'm just going to do some talking and you're just going to watch my hands work, okay? So clean hands, got an empty glass bowl, and I've got my pot here ready to go. So we're just going to take this chicken. So these wings, there's not a whole lot of meat on the wings. There's a little bit, so I usually try to get as much of it off as I can. But then that bone and skin, we're just going to drop it right in that pot right there. That's another little piece. And also, so sometimes like this little piece of wing, that's a little piece of chicken there, but it's kind of hard. So it's not, it's just kind of done. It's a little bit well done. So it's not something I'm going to want to put in a chicken salad or anything. So I'm probably going to go ahead and throw that in the pot too. So I'm just going to talk as I do this, let you guys get to know me a little bit. If you have any questions, post them down below and I will absolutely go through and answer them. If you have any questions about me or my family or you know, I'm going to be pretty transparent. So if there's anything that you want to ask, feel free to do that in the comments and I will either answer it below or I'll answer it in a future video. So the rest of that is pretty well done chicken. You can see that's pretty well done. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in the pot. Do you like dark meat or white meat more? Let me know below. I am a dark meat person. I think the dark meat has a lot more flavor and a lot more juiciness to it. I don't know if that's a word, but so I am really a thigh girl. I like the dark meat better than I do the white meat. My husband is more of the white meat. He likes the white meat on the chicken. I just threw the meat in the pan and was going to throw the skin in the bowl. Now, my great aunt Ethel, when I was little, she used to say that meant you were in love when you did something like that. I was making tea one day with her, and just Lipton tea, iced tea, and I threw the tea bags in the trash and put the tea tea packages in the pan to boil. And she said, "Oh, Tabitha, that means you're in love." I don't remember if I was at the time. I don't think I was even dating anybody at the time. I think I was in high school when she said that to me, so it was kind of funny. But now I am. Now I'm in love, so I'll count it now. So I'll tell you a little bit about my husband. His name is Dale, and I think I said it just a few minutes ago. We've been married a little over 33 years, and we got married after a whirlwind courtship. So I met Dale when I was 12, and he was a little older than me. He was 18, and he was actually getting ready to go to college, and we didn't date or anything at that time. And it wasn't until after I graduated high school, actually, that our paths crossed again. And about, let's see, I guess it was about a year after I graduated high school, he came back into my life again, and we started dating. He was working with a company at the time that had him traveling a lot. I won't say the name of the company. I don't know if I should or not. I'm not sure if I should say the name of the company. But anyway, so he was traveling a lot with them. And so we kind of were just taking it slow. And then they decided within a month after we started dating, they decided they were going to move him to South America, to Brazil, actually, South America. And so he told me, he was living in New York at the time, and I was like, oh my word, that's a long ways away for a long distance relationship. New York was pretty far, but Brazil is like crazy far. So anyway, we decided he was going to go to Brazil, and he was going to stay there for at least a year and see how things went. And then I would probably come to Brazil with him later. And as it turned out, we couldn't wait that long. So he actually proposed to me over the phone while he was in Brazil. And I will never forget, I said to him, well, I'm going to have to talk to my parents, because I was 18. I was still pretty young, just barely out of school. I graduated high school when I was 17. And so he said, okay. So I got off the phone that night, went downstairs with my mom in the kitchen. My mom's doing dishes. And I started drying the dishes, and I think she probably knew at that point something was up, because I didn't ever voluntarily dry dishes. Who does, right? So anyway, she says, how's Dale? And I said, he's good. And I said, I think he just asked me to marry him. And she kind of laughed, and I thought for sure her head was going to start spinning around on her shoulders, and she was going to say, absolutely not. You're too young. All the reasons why you should tell your 18-year-old not to get married. But she just kind of looked at me. And of course, keep in mind, she'd known him for a long time. She'd known him since he was 18. And now he was 26, I guess. And so she kind of looked at me and tilted her head and said, well, I've planned weddings in less than a month before. And so I said, well, then I guess I'm getting married. So keep in mind, I was one of 7 daughters. I was number 7 out of 7 daughters. And then my brother is the youngest. He's the 8th child. So I'm one of 8 total. But she had planned a few weddings before she got to her 7th daughter. So anyway, so that was in June. And about a month later, he came home from Brazil. And my favorite oldest sister, my only oldest sister, her name's Terry. And she has passed now. She's not with us anymore. She actually passed a couple years ago from COVID. But she took me, drove with me to Cincinnati, Ohio. And we picked him up at a Bob Evans and brought him back to Nashville, Indiana, where I was living at the time in Brown County. And he got down on one knee in the living room and gave me my ring and proposed. So I don't have it on right now. I take my rings off when I'm doing chicken like this, so I don't have my ring on. But anyway, yeah, so he proposed, and I said, obviously, yes. And so we got married that was on July 19th. That was on July 19th, 1990. And 2 days later, I turned 19 years old. And then 6 days after he proposed, or 6 days after my birthday, 6 days after my birthday, we got married. So less than a week after I turned 19, we were walking down the aisle. And then about 2 weeks after that, little more than 2 weeks, we were landing in Brazil, in South America. So we lived there for 4 years. He worked with that company for 4 more years. And, we enjoyed it. It was a beautiful experience. My oldest son, Nicholas, was born there. And that was a blessing to have that experience. It is a third world country, but we were living in a very large city, and it was a beautiful, my husband called it a hotel, not a hospital. He said, this feels like a hotel, not a hospital. It was a beautiful, beautiful hospital. So we lived in Brazil for the 4 years, and then we came home. So we've been back in the United States since then. We live down in southern Indiana in a little town called Salem. Pretty small little town. We do have a Walmart. It's a it's a super center. We do have a large Walmart. So that's kind of nice, but that's really about it. We don't have a whole lot else going on in Salem, to be honest with you. So for my followers from Salem, I apologize if I am insulting you, but I love Salem. We love living here. We actually live on 111 acres. We've got a small recreational farm here. This farm has been in my husband's family for about 40 years, I guess, a little over 40 years. They built this house that we live in, and we lost my in-laws a couple years ago, and when that happened, my husband and I moved into this house so that we could keep it in the family. So we've been living in this house, let's see, it's almost 9 years. I can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, so we've been in this house for almost 9 years. So I mentioned my oldest son, Nicholas. So he was born while we were living in Brazil. I'm still just taking all this off. I'm on the breastbone and going down the back of it now, just checking for any meat that there might be. See, there's a little piece right there. Little chunk of meat. That's a nice little soft, moist chunk of meat right there. So you want to make sure you go down that bone and make sure you get, that's a little bit of fat. You just want to make sure you get all the meat that might be hiding in some of those little places. See, there's some right there. I don't want to miss out on that. So anyway, so yeah, our oldest son, Nicholas, was born in Brazil. And our youngest son, Nathan, he is 27. And he was born here after we got home. He was born in 96. So he's 27. And both amazing young men. I'm extremely blessed to be their mom. Can't even thank God above enough for being their mom. They are amazing young men. A lot of that is because they had an amazing role model with their dad, and I'm very thankful for that. I have an amazing husband, and not perfect. Nobody is perfect, but he is pretty darn amazing, so I'm very thankful for that. Both of our boys are military, Army National Guard, and they both are in law enforcement. My oldest son is in law enforcement, and my youngest son works at a women's prison. So they are both in law enforcement. And I'm just really proud of them. They're great guys. Very, very thankful for them both and for their service and for their commitment to their community. So, yeah. So I'm trying to think anything else. We have 3 dogs, 3 cats, and we have a great internet connection. So we do work from home. My husband is a self-employed. He has his own business, so he works from home, and I help him with, you know, appointment setting and things like that. And I love to cook. So because I work from home and because he works from home, I'm in the kitchen a lot. I don't make breakfast. Okay, can we be real? I don't like mornings at all. I'm not a morning person. And Dale will tell you, you don't see the whites of my eyes before about 9 o'clock in the morning. Now I am up kind of late. I just threw a little piece of meat in there. See, I wasn't paying attention, but that's okay. It's all right. But yeah, I do stay up a little bit later probably than most. I think that's just a habit I got into when my boys were younger, and you know, they would go to bed and I would get some of my best work done after they were in bed because I didn't have anybody needing me. The phone wasn't ringing, things like that. So I think I just kind of got in the habit of it. I'm working on it. I shouldn't say I'm trying because there's no try. You either do or you don't, right? But I am working on going to bed a little earlier every night so that I can go to sleep a little earlier every night. I don't know that I'll ever like mornings, but hopefully I will get up and get the day going a little bit earlier, especially now that we're getting to the end of winter. And I do a lot of flower beds. I love cut flowers, so I have cut flower beds, and I do a lot of not gardening. We have a small garden in the summertime, but honestly, guys, we live in the middle of an Amish community, and less than a mile down the road from me is the sweetest Amish family, John and Amelia Gerard. They have 9 children, and they have a farmer's market. So they have their own vegetable stand, and it's all organic. They don't use any sprays or anything like that on their food. So I don't grow a lot in my vegetable garden just because I can go down there and get it and support them, and they're just such sweet people. So Amelia actually does a lot of my canning for me. during the summer. I'll give her my order. I supply all the jars, and then she supplies the product, you know, the produce and the time, and then I pay her for that and for her efforts and labor, and so that's a blessing. I don't have to do a whole lot of canning during the summer, but I do love to be outside. I love fishing. We have a pond, and so I do a lot of fishing. I absolutely love cut flowers. So I have 8 cut flower beds down in my yard that are just dedicated to cut flowers. And so I grow those. I try to do something different every year. I don't grow the same thing every year. I'm just shredding it up now. We're on the last bit here. But yeah, I try not to grow the same thing every year. And you probably won't see a lot of videos about that. I may share a post or a picture every now and then if I've got a beautiful dahlia or something to show you. I might do that, but I'm not like a massive gardener. Now, if you want to learn about gardening and you are interested in flower beds and all things gardening, there's a Facebook page and a YouTube page called Garden Answer. And this young lady's name is Laura, and she lives out in Ontario, Oregon. And I'll tell you what, I have learned so much from her. So much. She is absolutely brilliant, in my opinion, on cut flowers, on gardening in general. Any type of gardening, whether it's vegetable gardening or plant gardening or house plants. She can do anything. Her mom and dad have a place called Andrew's Seeds out there as well. And so she learned a lot from them, I think, growing up and working in the store. But anyway, so Garden Answer. If you want to follow somebody that can teach you a lot about flowers and things like that, that's your girl. But like I said, I might post a video or a short video or a picture or something every now and then this summer with my flowers. But mostly I'm just in the kitchen. Like I started to say, with Dale working from home, I'm in the kitchen a lot, making meals. And, you know, usually with just the 2 of us, if I make something, it'll last us a couple of days. I can make it and we'll eat on it for a couple of days. That's about all I can get out of it, though. He doesn't like too many leftovers for too often. So, okay, so that's it. I've got it all broken up, all nice and ready. Tomorrow, I'm going to be posting a recipe that's Asian inspired, but this chicken that I just deboned is going to be used for a soup. And oh, I'm so excited to try it because I've never tried it before, but yeah, I'll tell you about that whenever I do it. So in this pan, we've got all of the bones and the skin and everything. So I'm gonna wash my hands real quick, and then we will get the water in there. So let me get my hands washed. I don't know if you can hear me over the water, and I know you can't see me very well because of the way I have this camera, but I couldn't touch my phone while I had my hands nasty. All right. Got my hands cleaned up. So we're gonna take this pot. You can see it filled it, I don't know, maybe a third of the way. It probably filled it about a third of the way. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna bring you with me here. If I can get my cord to stretch. Hang on one second. Gotta move my cutting board out of the way so I'm not getting my... Oh goodness, that got blurry. Okay. I think you can see now. So I've got this little thing of filtered water here. So I'm just gonna fill this up, and we're gonna cover those bones, make sure everything's all nice and covered up with some filtered water. I am not a tap water person. How about you? Do you like tap water? I feel like, I'm gonna move my camera up a little bit here, if I can. Doing this one-handed, so bear with me. Yeah, so I'm not a tap water person. I don't know about you, but when we lived in Brazil for those 4 years, we didn't dare drink the tap water. Of course, this was 30 years ago. So I've always just had a habit of not drinking the tap water. So yeah, so I don't drink tap water. I use filtered water for everything. My coffee, my soups, my tea, everything. Okay, so can you see how that, let me see if I can point the camera down a little bit. Yeah, so you can see I've got it all pretty much covered in there. So now what I'm going to do is put this on the stove, and I'm going to put it on, I'm probably going to turn it on kind of high at first, about 7 or 8 on my stove. It's like a 1 to 9, or yeah, it goes 1 to 9. So I'm probably going to put it on a 7 or an 8 until it gets really good and hot and starts to come to a really good simmer. And then I'm probably going to turn it down to about a 4. And I'll put the lid on it, and I'm just going to let that sit for at least 3 hours. I like to let it go longer than that if I can. I'm starting this kind of late. It's almost 5 o'clock. So I'll probably turn it off about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight. And then let it sit and kind of cool. And then I use a strainer, and I will strain that out. But I'll show you that when we get to that point. Yeah, I'll show you that when we get to that point. So anyway, I'm enjoying this video. And I hope you are too. I hope you are too. So, because listen, you can only debone a chicken 1 time. So I can't do this video over again. So I did, I'll be honest with you, I started it 4 times. But I figure we're 20 minutes in. You've gotten to know me a little bit. And if you have any questions, like I said, about me or questions for me, put them in the comments, and I will absolutely answer them either in the comments or I'll answer them in another video. And I'm just super excited. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. I'm excited to be learning from you and with you. And yeah, so I will be back whenever this is ready to strain and pour into my jars and do the final sealing process and things like that. Okay, so I will see you in a bit. Hey guys, real quick, I forgot. First video, I'm gonna keep blaming it on that for at least the first video. But anyway, I forgot. I do put a little bit of salt in this as it's cooking. Now, I don't put a lot because there's a lot of flavor already in the chicken with, you know, the seasoning and stuff that it was on at the store. But I do, and I'm not even sure, that's probably 1/4 teaspoon, maybe, this little baby spoon that's in here. And I usually do about 3 of those. And then when it's all done, I usually taste it just a little bit to see if it needs any more than that. But I'd rather err on the side of caution right now than to have it be too salty. So just that little bit of salt is all that goes in there now. I've got it turned on. We're gonna wait until it comes to a good simmer. Then I'm gonna cover it up, put it on about 4, leave it for about 3 hours, and I will see you back whenever I get that done, and we'll do the straining process. So I'll be back. Hiya, I'm back. So the stock is done simmering. It's about 8:30 now on Sunday night. So I'm gonna grab it here. So you can see here, it's nice and thick and, well, I wouldn't say thick, but it's a really nice rich, that's what I would call it. It's nice and rich broth. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna tilt my camera down here. There we go. So you can see there. All right, so I have my bowl. I just have a, you know, I think it's an 8 cup. Yeah, 8 cup or 2 quart bowl with a spout. You wanna make sure it has a spout on it. And then I have my strainer. So I'm gonna set that there. I always grab a paper towel just to kind of catch any drips that might happen off that pan as you're pouring it in. Let's see, I'm gonna try to do this so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. So there's the bowl. Okay, so I'm gonna pour from this side so that you'll be able to see as it goes in. So you're just gonna slowly, because it's pretty hot, so you just wanna go kind of slow. Pour that liquid in there. You don't have to get all of those bones in the strainer. You're just kind of putting that there to catch things. So that looks like that did right at 2 quarts. That's perfect. That's about what I do, or about what I try to get anyway. Like I said, 2 quart jars. So you're gonna see all of that. All right, now that I've got all that strained out, I'm gonna go ahead and taste it, see how it tastes, and see if we need to add any salt to it. So you can see all that's left in there is just the bones and the skin. So let me get the, let me get a spoon so I can taste it. So we'll see how it tastes. It's pretty hot, so I'm gonna have to be kind of careful. Let me tilt this back up a little bit. Hello. Let's see. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. So I'll tell you what I did. Let me put this down here. I'll tell you what I did real quick, and then I'll go back down so you can see. While it was cooking, I made a little taste, took a little taste, and I added, in the beginning, you know, when I did that little video clip, I put about maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. But then as it was cooking, I went ahead and tasted it again, and I probably put at least another teaspoon. It was just, you know, like a really healthy couple of pinches. So let's see, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see about like that, but I did it twice. So probably another teaspoon at least. And you know, it's just to taste. It's not super salty. You don't want it super salty because you're going to be using it in other things and probably adding other spices to it. So you just want it to have some good flavor. You don't need it to be super salty. Okay, so anyway, so here it is. Isn't that beautiful? Gosh, that is so pretty, you guys. And I wish you could smell it. It smells really good. All right, so I have my 2 jars here, and I've got my funnel, my jar funnel. Couldn't think of the word. Put my jar funnel on there. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in, and you want to do it like, you don't want it to be scalding, boiling hot, but you want it to be pretty close. Like it needs to be really hot, because when I put that lid on there, when I put the lid on it, it's going to, whoop, a little bit dripped out. It's going to seal up. And like I said, it's not sealing it like you could leave it unrefrigerated. I wouldn't say that, but it's sealed up enough. Oh, I didn't tilt the camera, you guys. First video. All right, well, you'll see the second jar, but there's the first jar. And I usually leave just a little lip there. Okay, so we're gonna put that funnel in the second jar. And then we're just gonna pour this in. Here we go. You'll see the second jar going in. There we go. Let's put that over there. Gosh, you guys, it is so pretty. So I'm gonna dry off the mouth of the jar just to make sure there's nothing on it. Looks like I got a little bit more in one than the other, but that's okay. And then I just take a new lid, set it on there, seal that up nice and tight. All right, now I'm gonna let it sit here, and they are probably gonna do their little pop noise that they make. So they will seal, but like I said, I don't think it's sealed like you can leave it sit out on the counter or in the cabinet or on your shelf in the pantry or something. I always put mine in the refrigerator just as a precaution, and I use it so quickly that it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I would say this is going to last at least a week or so, maybe 2 in the refrigerator once it seals, and then you'll be good to go, and you will be ready for having some fresh chicken stock, for soups, for rice, for just about anything really. You can use it for your broccoli cheddar soup. Yeah, you can use chicken stock in a lot of things, and I think you're really going to have fun with it and enjoy it. So that's it. First video done. I'm pretty excited, and I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you. I know this is a journey for both of us, and I'm really excited to be on it with you, and looking forward to more videos. I think I figured out how to edit them. When I did that first video earlier today, I've spent the rest of this time this afternoon trying to figure out how to edit them so that they'll be spliced together correctly, but I think I got it done. You guys let me know what you think in the comments how I did on my first video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. I'd love to hear your suggestions. So I just want to remind you that Christ is the unseen guest at every dinner table, and he is the silent listener at every conversation. So just make sure that you're always using words of edification and building others up and just loving on people. That's what we're called to do. That's our purpose in this life, is just to love each other and be joyful. And so, yeah, I hope that's what you do too. Have a great day, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.